Hi guys, Corin here, and I'm back with a new video, and we're gonna be talking about cosplay etiquette. So this video is actually related to what's happening in conventions. But anyway, I also decided to make this video because the community is growing. Yes, there are so many people, so many beginners who are just new to cosplaying, and welcome to the community. I give you a big great hug as a welcome. And with that, you do need to know a few things when you're in the cosplay community. And yes, this is related to conventions as well. I encountered a few things from friends and from other people with how their experience went, and yes, it was great, but sometimes there are some things that you just cannot avoid even if you're old enough in the community. These are also submitted by my friends for the video, so I would like to thank each of them for their insights. Welcome to Cosplay Etiquette! Things beginner cosplayers should know. Number one is that cosplay is not consent. We're just people who dress up as characters we love. We're people who have individual lives, we're people who have individual struggles, and definitely we also have our own rights. Just because you're a cosplayer that's wearing revealing clothing doesn't mean you can touch them. It applies to most things actually. You cannot touch their wigs, you cannot touch their costumes, you cannot touch their props, anything. Just because they're in cosplay doesn't mean you can do anything you want. I know this just doesn't apply to just cosplay. Everyone has the right to refuse. Cosplay is not consent. Keep that in mind. Number two is that the cosplayer is not the character. I know it's so contradicting, but I'm going to explain to you why. Cosplayers are sometimes different from the characters they're cosplaying. Like me, I am very far from the characters I cosplay. At the end of the day, I'm just a really shy person. And for real, who is just really quick to assume that the cosplayers are the same as their character? Like, for an example, if you just see someone cosplaying as a murderer from an anime, then that means they're a murderer? Or if you see someone cosplaying a sexy type kind of character, then that means the cosplayer is exactly the same as that character? But Korn, it's cosplay. Isn't that the point of cosplay? Yes and no. Learn to separate the cosplayer from the cosplay. This is actually related to the next one. The third one is acts deemed as not safe for work in conventions are prohibited unless intended. I also want to address this because this has been a debate for a whole while now, and this have been happening a lot more recently than before. First of all, what do I mean by unless intended? You see, there are conventions that have two different things. They're allowed for R18 stuff, or if they're not allowed for R18 stuff. There are always guidelines in every convention to check if R18 content is allowed. I don't know if you guys know, but there are some events that cater R18 content. But just so it happens that there are these kind of people who do these acts in child-friendly conventions. I know people will come for me after this, but I know that there are creators and cosplayers doing and selling R18 content in child-friendly conventions, but that does not enable you to do NSFW content and NSFW stuff on convention grounds and in public. Like, guys, come on. There is always a place for that, just not conventions. Mind you that there is a difference between child-friendly and not child-friendly conventions. There are children attending this convention. Why do it there? I mean, simple kabedons are fine, yeah, but I've seen stuff that are so much worse than that. I'm not gonna elaborate though. Then again, yeah, don't do that unless the convention intends you to. Number four is do not make remarks about comparison to other cosplayers. Yeah, I know the cosplay is great, but do not ever mention it to other cosplayers. I think this also applies to other things. But then again, saying something like that to a cosplayer who worked so hard for their cosplay, only for it to be compared to other cosplayers, is something that would really just drain you, honestly. In fact, that was one of the reasons why I had to stop cosplay for a bit, because I compare myself a lot with other people. The thing is, like, it just sealed the nail on the coffin when someone said the same exact thing to me before. I mean, instead of comparing them, encourage them. It just wouldn't help if you compare with other people. Moving on to number 5, do not question a cosplayer's appearance. It doesn't matter if they don't have the physique or if they don't have the looks to cosplay. It's just cosplay, and there's totally no harm in that. By what I mean with questioning a cosplayer's appearance is if it's not accurate enough, if the costume is way different from who they're cosplaying, if the wig isn't as accurate as it seems to be, if their props are close to being broken or close to being missing, with, you know, some parts just starting to fall apart. Do not ever point out stuff like that to a cosplayer. For an example, one thing is that cosplaying is really, really hard. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of money, as I keep stressing this before. It takes so much money. So questioning someone's appearance in cosplay just because it's incomplete or it's not accurate doesn't mean that they're actually not trying. Yeah, I know there are some people who call it cosplay when it's not really a cosplay, and I know it's pretty hard to differentiate. So pretty much doing that can also be a form of discouragement. Yeah, pretty much overall, just don't be rude to cosplayers. Number 6, cosplayers are not celebrities. You're not royalty when you're in cosplay. You do not push people around just because you're a cosplayer. You do not turn someone down because you're a cosplayer. Well, I mean, it depends on the situation, but if it's up to abuse, you're not a celebrity. People should not use the term cosplayer to feel entitled. They do not need to use the term cosplayer if they want to get perks. Cosplay is just a hobby. I know that it can also be a profession, but it just doesn't work that way. In shorter terms, cosplayers aren't VIP. The reason why I put this in there is because there are some people who do use the word cosplayer to get perks and all that, to get special treatment, you know, stuff like that. Then again, yeah, cosplayers are all in the same boat in the end. There is no ranking system either. 7 is that let a cosplayer rest. I've encountered this countless of times before. It's common courtesy to just give someone space. Especially when a cosplayer is tired, especially when they're about to eat, when they're just resting on the side, when they're sitting down even. Do not disturb them. Cosplayers need breaks too. And conventions are hella tiring, if you ask me. I also remember a time when I went out of the convention to grab food. On my way there, I cannot even get to the restaurant but every 5 seconds there are people pulling out their cameras. It was not a good time. I was literally about to faint. Then again, let a cosplayer rest. Moving on to number 8, do not purposefully mistake a cosplayer's character. It's not funny. You think it's funny? Like, I mean, yeah, if you're just joking, then sure, but do not even think about pushing it to the cosplayer. I know it's something playful and all that, but it just offends the cosplayer. It's just not cool. I've also been seeing videos of, you know, people purposefully mistaking their characters. They just keep doing it. Please, stop it. It's not funny at all. I know you're just doing this for clout. Just don't. 9, this applies to pretty much everything. Be polite when interacting with cosplayers. Or in general, when you're just at a convention, just be polite. Especially if there's some point where you want to have pictures with cosplayers. Do not forget to thank them. Do not forget to ask them for their cos cards if they have any. And yeah, just don't be rude. We don't bite. I know people sometimes get intimidated and scared by cosplayers, but overall, we just really want to interact with a lot of people. That's what we're there for. Just be polite and have a sense of courtesy. You can ask for their socials if they're free to. Don't be people who just like push you to like go through their DMs or something. Sir, can I have a photo? Now that I got your picture, can I ask for your socials too? Great, I'm gonna add you. Accept it. Accept it. Accept it. Accept it. Accept it. Accept it. Why aren't you answering my messages? I want to talk to you. Why not? Why not? Why not? And for last but not the least, cosplayers aren't there to cater you. They're not there to satisfy your needs. They are not there to specifically cosplay for you. You do not order them around with who you want them to cosplay unless you're going to sponsor them. Then that's the way. So if you want to see me cosplay someone, then feel free to just message me and then we'll find a way to just, half kidding aside. Please note that they are not cosplaying for you. They are also cosplaying for themselves. They're also cosplaying for what they love. We are not objects. We are not there to serve you. Ano to? SM, happy to serve. Then again, yeah, please note that we are not doing this for you. And yeah, that's pretty much my say on this issue. And just so you know, if you guys have more opinions, any violent reactions, any more advice, you are free to comment them in the video. And I'm not expecting everyone to follow this, but as much as possible, I just really hope that everyone gets to understand why we have etiquette, especially in the scope of cosplay, pretty much for everyone to have a better experience. And again, that's all. Thank you guys for watching. Bye!